Hello and welcome to another episode of Your Voice Matters. I'm Viv Cunningham with Preferred Real Estate Brokers selling the American Dream here in Central Florida. And I have my partner Neville Smith here with you. Go ahead, Neville, you take the floor. And
Hey guys, how you doing today? Beautiful Sunday here in Central Florida. I'm looking forward to this episode of the program because you're definitely gonna love it. Got a special guest for you, and she's gonna tell you all about what she does and all about how she does it or helps you. All right. So Viv, back to you.
our special guest is going to be Michelle Freeney, and I'm going to have her introduce herself right after we finish. Neville and I are going to jump in the mortgage stuff, and we look forward to you learning a lot. And don't forget to jot your comments and your questions below because even though this is live out there, we can still answer your question. Michelle contact information is going to be there once we're finished. So we're just going to jump right in. So Neville, today we're talking about how to get a mortgage. Some of the things, I checked out is like, are you financially ready? Are you financially stable? Making sure that you are prepared for home ownership. So, Neville, let's talk about home ownership. How important home ownership is.
Well, home ownership is it's important in the sense that it gives stability. Okay, for one, not everybody at every stage of life can become a homeowner, but if it's that stage and time for you, home ownership is the right step. One, there's a tax implication. Two, generally speaking, your mortgage doesn't change or your payments don't change if you have a fixed mortgage. The only reason why it changes is the insurance might go up or the taxes might go up. Those things change it for the fixed rate mortgage. The other types of mortgage, well, that's something else. But overall, it gives that stability. That's the main thing is stability and also the financial advantages over renting.
Yeah, and then also choosing the right person, the right mortgage company. There's so many different types of mortgages out there. There is ELOC, there is FHA, there is conventional, there's USDA, there is VA. So there's so many different, but not every lender, even though they do all of those mortgages, but not all of them are caring. Like, let's say a VA. I am VA certified. So, you know, if an agent is getting a VA loan from if a buyer is getting a VA loan and an agent don't know how to help them, and find out, making sure that they got the right documents and things like that, then easily their loan can fall through. So it is so important that you choose the right lender for your family, because it's just like lenders are like, there's so many of them, just like realtors. There's so many of them. We got about 238,000 realtors in Central Florida. And then we got about 1.5 million realtors around the globe, for National Association of Realtors. So there's so many. So how do you choose the right lender? How do you choose the right person for your family that's going to be caring enough to take care of your family and getting you from start to finish? Because not every lender can close a loan. Let's put it that way. Okay, they will tell you that they can close it, and because they want the loan, they take it, and then all of a sudden, you get to the table just before it's time for closing. All of a sudden, they're telling you that, oh, we didn't find this tax lien that was we didn't realize you were making payment to the IRS. Come on now, okay, come on. Why wouldn't you know that up front, right, Neville?
Exactly. Well, that's once again choosing the right lender in the sense that they're going to do the proper steps in the pre-approval process. They're possibly going to do the underwriting also at the same time, depending on how the company that lender is with, and if that's their procedure. So a lot of the things they will catch up front, so that what your buying power is, and it's not any last minute, ditch and dive effort to get things done. So, yeah, we're there.
Yeah, doing your research is so important. It's so important about doing your research about you know, a lot of time we tend to use family friend for a realtor, or we use family friend for a lender because, oh, they just got their lender's license. Yeah, I got a relative that got your lender's license. I'm going to go ahead and use them. And then all of a sudden you get there and they can't close a loan. You know, so
Well,
that's important.
that's why we have Michelle here today to kind of set us straight on
That's
how
right.
to get going with those things.
Yeah, the lender is going to discuss with you what kind of mortgage is best for you once they review all your documents. They will help you get pre-approved. They'll help you with the application process, just like Neville says. They'll help you with the underwriting process, and they will prepare for closing your loan. And then, of course, you know, closing your loan and then making sure that you get into that home. So let's talk about getting that loan, Neville. And what are some of the things that you think that you when a buyer comes to you, okay, how do you guide that buyer, you know, to find a lender? Okay, with me, I have a list of lenders that I communicate with daily or weekly, and I vet them to make sure that they're able to get my loan closed. You know, I have lenders every day. I have people that are honed in my phone. Can I have 15 minutes with you? And I said to them, really, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. My schedule is busy. And I already have a lot of great lenders that I work with. Oh yeah, I hear that you're a top agent out there. Okay, I'm a top agent, but I've been in real estate now for over 14 years, you know, going on 15. Then, you know, obviously I must have developed some kind of relationship with some kind of lender. So you can't just all of a sudden you just want to sweep in, you know, and think that, okay, I'm going to sit down with you for 15 minutes. Really and truly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have that time. I already built my list of great lenders that I communicate with. It's a reciprocity. It goes where you send me referral and I send you referral. Some of these lenders, you send them referral and they never send you back a referral because they have their favoritism of realtor, whatever it is. They send all those referrals to them. And then here you are, you always giving, and they never give back. So I have my lenders, my preferred lenders, a great list of preferred lenders. What about you, Neville?
Much the same. There is just a key number that I've worked with, and not saying that I don't work with other folks, but more times than not, you know, the ones that I've worked with, they're sending me pre-approved buyers. And with those lenders, they are not doing anything funky or funny. They have pre-approved these people properly. They vetted them and made sure that, you know, when we go through the process, they are going to be buying a home at the end. Last year, things were kind of weird, at least for the past 2 years, things were kind of weird just because, you know, the prices of home kept going up, changing, and something that someone could qualify for in let's say 1 month earlier, by the time they turned around at the end of, let's say, May, they couldn't qualify for it if they started in April anymore because the price on that house went up. Granted, the interest rate was low at that point, but then things started changing again where the interest rate started going up. And now, you know, so once again, my lender partners, they're the ones that's vetting these people to say, hey, this is what you can afford. This is how I can help you. So definitely those are the people that I work with. And also, as far as me sending them business, I'm sending them there to get pre-approved first, not just getting a pre-qualification letter, because pre-qualification doesn't do anything for you, generally speaking. Mm-hmm. So that's it as far as from my side.
Yeah. So the lender that you choose, it should be, the lender is going to find you the best program for you. They're going to find you the best loan. You know, whether they work with down payment assistant, they work with first time home buyers. You got to check all of that out. You got to do your research. You have to make sure that you're asking the right questions. And if you need a list of questions to ask, you can always ask our lender. You know, what list of questions should you be asking? Should you be asking the lender? You know, because if you don't know what question to ask, you know, like let's say you wanted down payment assistance and you're a first time home buyers, you know, you need to ask them, do you work with first time home buyers? You know, do you work with a certain price point? Because there's a certain lenders that don't work. They might say that you're buying a house for $250,000. I don't work with, you know, those type of people. You might say, I work with 500,000 up. So, do your research, and then also let the lender help you to find out what is the best loan for you. Okay. And then, and if it's a mortgage broker, they can shop your loan around to make sure that you're getting the right mortgage, whether don't forget mortgage, they refinance houses. Okay. They find you the right mortgage, whether they can help you with some closing costs. What kind of mortgage is it? A fixed mortgage? What kind, you need to find out. You need to find out all of that. I was talking to one of my buyer not too long ago, and they sent me over a pre-approval, and she called me, she texted me, and she said she wanted me to put in an offer on a condo for her. But I told her, I says, first of all, the FHA, if it's a condo, the lender needs to let me know if it's FHA approved. If not, I'm wasting my time doing that paperwork if it's not FHA approved. So all of that stuff is important. But see, what happened is the public doesn't know that stuff. They don't know that a condo need to be FHA approved. They don't really know things like that. But that is for us here to educate them and making sure that, if they really want to buy a house, they get into a house, whether we're helping them with their credit and finding them where they're not taking money out of their pocket and maybe getting credit repair. And it's not necessary. Some credit repair company, they they string you along for years, couple of years, and they don't get anything done. So that's why I said, you got to have, just like I said, Neville and I have a list of preferred vendors that we use, affiliates and things like that we use, that we know that works for us. So always reach out to your lender for a list, because your lender always have a list. Always reach out to your agent, because your agent also have a list of people that they use. And even if they're new, usually their office usually have a list of great preferred lenders or affiliates. So it's good to be able to do that. But there's so many different, but Michelle is going to be talking about online application, what to look out for, what to do, how to do it, how to make sure that, once she gets you pre-approved, that's the way that you're going to stay. And you're not going to, because some people are pre-approved and she get them a pre-approval letter. All of a sudden they go out and think that, okay, now I'm pre-approved, I can go buy a car. It's going to mess your credit up. It's going to mix your loan up, your income to debt. Michelle is going to go over all of that stuff with you, and she's going to come right on. Now, Neville, any good recommendation that you would have for people who are out there that are actually searching for service provider and they're searching for the right lenders?
Well, one, if they're working with us or any agent that they're working with, they should first tap into that agent and just seeing what they have available. Also, sometimes, just talking to other folks that's been through the process recently. They may have a friend that just bought a house or whatever, and they need, some other information on it. Another thing to do is be aware of the Better Business Bureau and all that to make sure that these people are reputable that you're dealing with. So, generally that.
Awesome.
What else do you add to that?
Well, I'm going to stop right there, and then let Michelle, all of this stuff that we have been discussing, we're going to have Michelle comment on it. We're going to have Michelle take it from start to finish. She's going to take you from the start, what you need to do before to get ready, and she's going to also let you know what needs to be done at the end in order to get into your home, and you actually we actually hand you the key at closing. So we're going to have Michelle Freeney here. She's our lender for today. So Michelle, go ahead and take it away.
Well, hello, Vivian, and everyone out there on the social media platforms. Vivian, thank you so much for having me on as a guest and joining your distinguished partner, Neville Smith. Thank you once again. My name is Michelle Freeney, as you said. I'm originally from, a little bit about me, from Chicago, Illinois. The thrust of my background has been in the banking industry. I entered into the mortgage industry in 2020, but it's very tied into sales. In my banking life, I worked as a branch manager and a commercial lender. So I had a plethora of different departments that I worked with, mortgage being one of them, the trust department, merchants, and of course the retail division. So not a stranger to the mortgage world at all. I currently work for Movement Mortgage, an excellent mortgage lender based out of North Carolina. I just came back from a training 3 days ago on that. And so, as you said earlier, both Vivian and Neville, you have to find a lender that is knowledgeable, that has a great brand and has a great reputation. And I'm glad to say that Movement Mortgage is one of those companies. So you said a lot regarding the process. You are a veteran, and as you said, we're here to educate, the public here. And so, what do you do when you find yourself you want to buy a home? If you want to buy a home, and you may be a first-time home buyer, you may want to upsize, you may want to downsize. You may have a realtor that you're working with, like Vivian and Neville. You may or not have a lender. And so the first thing you need to do, and not necessarily in this order, is when you want to purchase a home for whatever reason, find a realtor. If you find a realtor like Vivian first, Vivian has, and Neville, they have a plethora of lenders that they work with. And so if you don't have a lender, they can refer you to a lender. If you start with a lender like myself, that does sometimes happen. I'll meet someone out and through conversation and networking, I find that they want to buy a home. They'll start with me, and they may or may not have a realtor, and I will refer them to a fine realtor like Neville or Vivian. So the relationship first is a marriage basically between the realtor and the lender, I like to say. So they work hand in hand with you to get you into your dream home. And so you can start with either one. And once, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, Neville and Vivian, most of the realtors that I do know, they like to have you, the borrower, they would like to have that pre-approval. We talked about that. Neville touched a little bit about a pre-qualification. A pre-qualification basically, it doesn't hold its worth compared to a pre-approval, because it's basically a pre-qualification is basically based upon the information you supply on the application, and a pre-approval backs up the information that you supply on the application. So providing that documentation to support that you make X amount of dollars a year, that you have X amount of dollars in a bank account. So correct me if I'm wrong, you'd like to have that pre-approval in hand, because that tells you what your buying power is. Mm-hmm. And then you can go out and start looking for homes, so you're not wasting, their time or your time if you don't qualify, right?
Right.
And right. I always like to say it's never, you talked about that, and you did too, Vivian, that you may work with a lender and they say they can't do the loan. I like to say, if it is a no, it's not never, it's just not now. And I think a good lender would work with that particular borrower to get them to where they need to be, and tell them what they need to do to get them in that house. Like, for instance, they may need to bring up their credit score, or they need to have a little savings, to pay for those vendor costs, like an appraisal and inspection. So let's go back. From step one. Step one, let's say you work with Vivian or myself, either one first, and she may refer you to me, or you may come to me first. You need to fill out a loan application. And there's several ways that you can do that. You can do that online yourself. If you're tech savvy, you can apply over the phone with me directly, or you can meet me at a branch. So there's 3 ways that you can kind of apply. More than not, people are applying online because it's just easier, because you could just do it on your own, and then you could just, fill it on your own time, and then upload documentation that's needed. And so during that loan application process, I'm having a conversation with you, the borrower, what type of products, what type of mortgage products are available based upon your preliminary information, whether it is a conventional loan, whether it's a FHA loan, like Vivian said, could be a USDA loan, could be a VA loan. So it is my job as a lender to know what programs are available that will best suit your needs. So let's say, for example, you don't have a lot of money saved up. The best program, the lowest cost to inject would be that FHA loan that only requires a 3.5% down payment plus closing costs. A lot of times people leave off that closing cost. So there's 2 parameters when you're getting into that loan transaction. You have to have a down payment, and you have to have the closing costs. And if you need help in those areas, there's a plethora of programs that your lender should know that could be available to you. It could be internal programs with that lender. It can be grants or down payment assistance programs at the federal, county, or state level. So that will be structuring the loan for you to see where you are and what is available out there for you to get you into that loan. So once that loan application is completed, we're going to be gathering information from you that will be verified with our loan processor. One thing at Movement Mortgage, though, Neville and Vivian, you probably know that once you take the application, usually it goes through a processor, the processor process, if you will. At Movement Mortgage, we start the other way around. Once we get that application and once we gather the information, what type of information, Michelle? Your bank statements, your investment account statements, your ID, things of that nature. Once we get that information, we're going to give it directly to our underwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Directly to our underwriter. It doesn't go to the processor because the underwriter will tell you exactly. They do the calculations and they will tell you what the conditions are so that you know right up front what you're working with. And then you get the pre-approval based on that. And then it goes to the processor, and the processor will work with working out those kinks of any type of conditions that need to be met.
Michelle,
how does that sound? Does that sound wonderful?
I want to say one thing, Michelle. Movement Mortgage is one of the best mortgage company that's out there. My mom and my brother, the house they're living in right now, Movement Mortgage is the one that did it. And let me tell you something. I love the process of, just like you said, sending the paperwork to the underwriter. So then there's no excuse.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I love that.
Thank you. We call that the 671 process. Mm-hmm. So once that application and the documentation is collected and submitted in 6 hours, not 6 days, 6 hours, underwriting will have a decision for you. Mm-hmm. And then the seven days, it goes to processing, to collect everything or to go over everything and to do the review. And then 1 day for close. So it's awesome. It's an awesome system that works. So so that's the process up to there. So once we have it going through, I like to say the LO, the loan originator, like myself, is the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So we work with the underwriters and processing to get that ball rolling, right? And once that is done, we give you the pre-approval, Neville and Vivian. You get to take your borrower out, and you know what their buying power is, and start looking at a home. You start looking at a home with your realtor, and once you find that selected home, then we will order an appraisal. And then, of course, you want to get an inspection. On the appraisal piece, the appraisal is required by the lender and or title, but the inspection is not. But the inspection is in your best interest to do because this is the biggest asset that you're purchasing. So you want to know what any pitfalls are in that property, right? So yes. The appraisal and inspection is ordered. And then after that, we're going to continue to do the final underwriting. And then we're going to give you the key. We're going to make a closing date, and then you'll get your keys to close on your home. It's simple as that.
That is awesome. I just love that process, because getting a mortgage, it is not, I'm going to let you know, I've done it for someone. I haven't done mortgage application in over, I don't know, many years, but I had to do it for someone. And it was a relative that I had to actually upload those documents to the site for them and stuff like that. That, Michelle, that's pretty stressful.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's pretty stressful. How do you help some of those people that are not really computer savvy in order to get the documents to you and making sure that they're readable?
So what we can do is basically have them meet at the office. We could definitely do that. I've actually walked clients through because pretty much everyone has a smartphone, of maybe scanning it if they're small documents on their phone and emailing it, or going to Kinko's or Office Depot. Or, if it's, depends on the situation, I could even go to their home and collect the documents and copy them for them. So whatever it takes to make it easier. I do find sometimes, our older population may need a little help in that area. But for the younger generations, they're pretty much tech savvy. But if that is an issue, yes, that's something that can be overcome. So we could do that.
So, Michelle, where are some of your offices? Where are some? I know there's one here in Claremont, right off of Highway 27, Movement Mortgage. Where are some of your other offices located?
So we have an office in Winter Park. My office is in Winter Park.
Okay.
And just to give you a little background, my mortgage team was Home Team, Home Team. And Home Team has just partnered with Powered by Movement Mortgage.
Okay.
So Home Team had an office in Winter Park. And so Movement will basically add that to their locations as well. So, but you can find me in Winter Park.
Very good. Very good. Now,
if I'm not working remotely.
Okay, so but you can work from home, but if somebody needs to meet you in your office, they are able to do so. Make it the process a lot easier if they just picked up the documents. Do you send them a list of documents that they need? How do you go about getting the documents?
Absolutely. So during that initial conversation, I will set the expectation, what the process is that we just kind of went over, and during the application process, it will once they apply online, or if I take it over the phone with them, I will tell them what they need to submit. Or if they do it online by themselves, the system itself will tell them what they need to submit. They'll need to submit the bank statements, or contingent on what they supplied on the application, on the online application, the checking account statement, saving account statement, money market, a copy of their ID, any investment account statements. So if they get any disability income, that letter, that award letter, and then it could be scanned and downloaded in the system. But again, if it's an issue, then I can walk them through that and meet them at the office. Not a problem.
Now, tell me again. Okay, so I took a buyer out. You already gave me the underwritten pre-approval from the underwriter. I took a buyer out. So how long from me getting under contract? Okay, since you're already underwriters, how long from me getting under contract to closing?
So we have that 671 process, as mentioned. I mean, that's basically 8 days. But of course, everything is contingent on if there's any conditions that need to be cleared. And sometimes that may take a little while. I will be safe to say the industry standard, it should be less than 30 days.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Less than 30 days. If it's over 30 days, that you should raise an eyebrow, unless there's some, excruciating circumstances to clear conditions. But, it should take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks currently in this current environment. Okay,
very good. Okay. Neville, you have any burning questions for the lender? Can you stump the lender?
Not necessarily a burning question. Since things have changed, the interest rates have changed a lot. What are buyers that are standing on the sidelines saying, oh, it's going to drop, again to where it was before? What do you have to say to them at this point? Just seeing, what's out there, what's happening.
Rates have, right now, rates are as low as since September was the latest readings on that. I like to say I'm a woman of faith. And I just say, if you're wanting to buy in your market to buy, to buy, the rates are never going to be, well, I'm not God, but I don't think we'll ever see the rates as low as 2% like we did in years past. That was an anomaly, right? It was historical lows. Right now, average, between 6 and 6.5% we're seeing, which is a very good rate compared to in the 80s when it was double digits, right? Exactly. So what I am telling people that may be on the sidelines is that you can always get into that home, and should the rates fall below, you refinance. That's what millions of people did during the refinance boom during the previous 2 to 3 years. They were at 8 and they saw them drop to 7 and to 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2. You had, many people that refinanced multiple times. So I would say, not to be scared of this market. If you need a home, you buy a home. And when the rates are more favorable than the rate that you close at, we refinance. Because guess what? Who likes eggs? I know I do. Whether it's $3 dozen or $10 dozen, I'm buying them.
You're still going to buy them.
Yeah.
regardless of what.
There's certain recipes that just can't do without eggs. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's my main question there, Viv.
Michelle, tell me what kind of I'm going to call them incentive, because that's what the builder called them. What kind of mortgage programs that you have out there, like for first-time home buyers? What are you seeing out there? Like, I had a meeting with Orange County the other day, and Orange County was giving $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000 for their down payment. And I had a meeting with their staff the other day. Now, what kind of programs do you have out? Do you have any particular program that Movement Mortgage does?
You know what? I'll have to get back with you on that. I just started last week.
Okay.
So I need to find out what type of incentive program we have. I don't know right offhand, but like you said, at the county level, we are participants of that. You know, the Shinoa Fund at the federal level, that as well. So those are programs that we are privy to, that we partner with to offer. But I do need to find out what, if any, that we have internal to Movement that we offer. And I can definitely get back with you to share with our video land there.
Very good. And you do all type of mortgage, right? You do USDA, VA, FHA, down payment assistant.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Conventional Freddie and Fannie, FHA, VA, USDA. Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jumbo loans. We also partner with brokers. So we do I-10 loans. We do investment loans as well. Foreign national loans.
Okay. That's good. Foreign national.
So I'm working with someone right now, just for example, it was a referral actually. Her nephew lives in France, and he's back and forth to Florida, where he has relatives. And he's looking at buying a home. So we directly don't have that program. Most of your traditional lenders do not, but your brokers do offer programs like that. So, and we do partner with some that could, serve that appetite for that particular scenario.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, so Michelle, is there anything that we didn't ask you, because you're the lender and we're the realtor, so we have no idea about what goes on behind the scene of the underwriting? What are some things that the underwriter are looking for in order to approve the loan?
Well, they're looking at a fine-tooth comb information supplied on the application. So, of course, we're verifying salary, with the employer, a VOE, verification of employment. We're looking at their financial relationships, their bank statements, looking for a pattern of deposits and or withdrawals. You mentioned something earlier, don't apply for a loan and then go out and buy a new car. That is something, anyone that's out there listening, if you are seriously in the market of buying a home, I tell people, in setting expectations, you really have to shut down your life for 30 days and not, don't go on any type of wild shopping spree or buy anything during this process, because it'll definitely affect your debt to income ratio. So you want to be able to be disciplined, for those 30 days. And after you close on your loan and have those keys, you can buy that Ferrari if you want to. But yeah, so the underwriters are looking at your bank statements, looking at a history, a trend, transaction trend, how you're spending money, deposits coming in, if there's any red flags. They're doing the calculations for debt to income ratio to make sure that's in line, how much money you have coming in to going out. Those are the main things.
Now, I also like, one of the things I like, which I think a lot of lenders got away from, is telling the buyer what their mortgage is. So what your mortgage is, what your taxes is supposed to run between, what your HOA, your closing costs, insurance and things like that. Now, do you give out like a cost estimate sheet? Because I notice most lenders are really going away from doing that. And that concerns me, because I want to know, okay, if I'm looking at a houses and the taxes is $5,000, should I be looking at a house for them when the taxes is $3,000 or $2,000? In order to keep their payment, like you talked about, income to debt, in order to keep their payment where it's supposed to be. Now, do you give them, I know you go through the underwriter, but do you also tell them, says, okay, don't look for a house, let's say, for example, no more than $350,000, and your HOA can't be no more than $50 a month. Your taxes can't be no more than $250 per month, and then your insurance can't be no more than $125, and then this will be your payment.
Absolutely. You want to, as a lender, share that information. You really should. All lenders have this information, but do they disseminate this information to the borrower is another story altogether. And so, like you said, this transaction can be a very daunting task, especially for that first-time home buyer, right? And so you should go over those line by line. This is what whatever the HOA is, whatever your taxes are, your insurance, your closing costs, the down payment. I've talked to several, borrowers. They're surprised when they get to the closing table, not knowing they had to pay these closing costs. They just had the down payment, fixed in their mind. So no, absolutely. Once you have that home too, we have something in the industry called LE, a loan estimate. That loan estimate, once you have that property, itemizes everything. And so, of course, for compliance reasons, that is given to the borrower. That's federal regulation. But, we don't know what we're looking at. They don't know where they're looking at. So it's up to the lender to educate and set the expectation. This is where we are. This is what you're receiving. This is what this means. And when you know that someone's a first-time home buyer and not savvy in that area, to go over line by line, this is what your bottom line is going to be that's coming out of your pocket. This is going to be your monthly expense once we get to the closing table. So absolutely.
Yes, that's so important. Okay, so is there anything that we didn't ask you that you think the public needs to know?
I can't think of anything offhand.
So all they need to do is, if they need to get in contact with you, your information is running underneath the bottom of the screen. You can always call Michelle directly, and she will get you started. She will get you qualified. Now, do you have any, let's say their credit is not up to par. Let's say you're supposed to be at a 620 and your credit is at 580. Do you have anyone that helps them in order to build it up to the 620?
Yes, I do partner with vendors that can work with individuals to build that up, and then we, can run that credit again to see, if it's there, and so we can proceed with the application process. Absolutely. So as a lender, for folks that aren't ready, you have vendors at your fingertips, to kind of share as resources. To, again, as I mentioned, doesn't mean never, just means not now, just so that they can work on, where they need to improve. That's a great area, because the lowest credit score is 580 on a FHA loan. So if you've got below 580, then we need to kind of work with a credit repair person to get you where you need to be. Absolutely.
And then you have somebody that does that, right?
Correct.
They're not in-house, but you have a list of service provider that you can recommend for them.
Exactly. Not in-house. It's, a resource partner.
Okay. Awesome.
Which is pretty standard in the industry as well. So.
Right. Okay. So that's a bunch of great stuff. I thank you, Michelle, for sharing all that good stuff. Please reach out to Michelle if you have any other questions about getting pre-approved, getting your credit ready, getting, in order to purchase your home, and get off the fence, just like Michelle is talking about. It's better to buy. It's not everyone wants to buy, but if you can buy a house, go for it, because there's lots of help out there where you can little money out of your pocket. Sometimes it's zero money down. So don't sit down there and wait, because you know what? Buying a house, it's stability. It's generational wealth. There's so much good things about buying a house. If you don't want to live in the house and you want to rent it out, you can go ahead and do that. You can use it for whatever you want to use it for. It's up to you, depending on what kind of loan. You're going to use it for Airbnb, whatever you want to use it for. But buying a house is a great investment, not for everyone, but for someone. Okay?
Absolutely. Neville. Absolutely.
Yes. And I thank you so much for coming on. Now, Neville, do you have any last question that you want to ask Michelle?
At this point, I think she's covered a lot, and we do have her contact information, her contact number there for any other questions. And Michelle, you're out there on Facebook, LinkedIn. Where else can folks find you?
Yes, I'm on pretty much on all the socials on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok.
Oh, wow. You're a TikToker. Okay.
I'm not much on TikTok, more of a Facebooker and LinkedIn person, but yeah, I've started to
Okay.
dabble a little bit more into Instagram, but yeah. But you
And
can find me on one of those four socials.
tell them
Awesome.
about your mortgage life with Michelle.
Vivian, I love it. I need you as my PR person. So I'm trying to, like all of us, it's basically do or die if you're not engaged in social media. It is, especially if you're in sales. So, like all of us, we're trying to improve our social media skills. So I started a group page, and it's called Mortgage Life with Michelle. And I basically am transparent. I kind of share anything, basically. I have some things on there from the training in North Carolina last week. I'll take pictures of my orchid. I do provide some, mortgage tidbits, but let's be honest, mortgage is boring. So, but, it's basically just to stay top of mind, so that when viewers are ready to buy a mortgage or have a friend in their circle or family member, that they'll say, aha, I remember, Michelle with Mortgage Life with Michelle, let me ask her. But it's something fun. Fun. I'll add some serious mortgage tips every now and then, but I'll share a little bit about myself, because at the end of the day, it's about relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even with who we partner with as realtors and lenders, you have to be relational first and not all about the sell. And
Right.
One thing I did jot down here, what you said, Vivian, I think you said this, that you just can't call and expect to have your hand out. You have to give before you get. Right.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes you may give and not get anything, but that's okay.
Right.
It's where your mindset is. Right. So, yeah, but Mortgage Life with Michelle, find me on Facebook. I do some frivolous things, and I do share some mortgage tips. So check it out.
Yes, I thank you for joining, Michelle. And upcoming event is Meet Me Here. Don't forget, we have it coming up at Ocherius Restaurant. It's going to be 5 to 7 on February 4th. February 4th. Okay, so we're going to be doing some dancing there. I kind of change it. It was on Sunday, but she don't open on Sunday. So I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and change the date. So we'll change the date and put it where we can do a little bit of dancing. We're going to be meeting at the Ocherius Restaurant, because I do like that place. And I like to dance. Of course, I like reggae music. So you know what? I'm always dancing. They call me the dancing.
Love it.
So, I'm excited. So meet me here. So I look forward to seeing you, and bring anyone that you want to bring. We have a good time when we hang out and network. It's about networking, and it's about meeting people. He's who you know. It's who you know. And another event that's coming up every first Wednesday, first Thursday, and first Friday, we have our first time home buyers workshop, which HEA, and it goes from 6:30 until 9. And then they have a certificate. They get the certificate for the home buyers certificate at the end, and they get it like the following week, where if you're using a lender like Michelle, and Michelle need that certificate, you can go ahead and send it over. You don't have to use the lenders that comes on there and talk. You don't necessarily have to use them. You can go ahead and find your own lender. So it's not that, even though you take the home buyers class, Neville and I teach that. We love to teach that, and we love to educate the public. So I always look forward to that. So if you have any comment, you can always leave them below. And any question from Michelle phone number is running across the bottom of the screen. You can text her. She'll send you her email. She'll send you all the information, how to put in the mortgage application, if that's what you're looking for. I also have a home buyer's guide, and I also have a home buyer's book. So if you'd like a free copy of it, okay, I'd be happy to send you a free copy of it, a free link where you're able to read it. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of Your Voice Matter. And if you know anyone out there that you think their voice matters, please have them contact us, and let's carry on this great conversation. And you never know when it's your last day, so make sure you're living your best life always, right?
Yes. Thank you, Vivian.
All right. I look forward
to you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Have a good Sunday.
Thank you for listening. See you on the next episode of Your Voice Matters.